Hey everybody, welcome to episode 101. We're starting the next 100 videos, so here we go. I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do today, and then I heard a knock at the door, and a package came. So I'm assuming this is Love Gun, because I ordered the Transformers the movie soundtrack. I finally got a copy of that on Discogs for good price, sealed too. So we'll see on that one, see if it's as good as it's supposed to be. But anyways, that one I recorded after or ordered after that, so I'm highly doubt that came first. And this feels a little lighter, so it's probably just a single disc. I think the other one's a double disc. But anyways, let's be funny if I open this up. We wanted to do a Love Gun video, and it's not Love Gun, but let's do an actual unboxing. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, when I heard the door, I said, "Oh, hey, it's probably a Love Gun. I guess we're doing a Love Gun today." So obviously, I haven't heard the record yet because it's still sealed, still got the tape on it. So I just went through and I just listened to the album again to refresh myself on YouTube Music. So that's what I was just currently listening to before I decided to make the video. So the first thing, before we get going here, let's dig into the package here and hope that it is a Love Gun album. And we'll see what condition it's in. You're going to be see it firsthand, just like I did. You know, it's funny. It's down there, but the Destroyer album, for like added protection, they threw in a Blues Brothers record, not the soundtrack to the movie, but just a Blues Brothers record. It was pretty funny. It's pretty cool. I love Blues Brothers. I mean, obviously it's from that time period too. But yeah, we'll crack this baby open and see if everything's all good. Now, technically at this point, with the exception of the solo albums, I have all of the Love Gun. I have all of the Kiss albums that I want. So yeah, it's Love Gun. Pretty nice. They wrapped it in sleeve. Oh, okay. So they know what they're doing too. They wrapped it. They didn't put it in the sleeves just to prevent some ring wear. So this one I picked up for, I want to say it was $10 or 11 or something, or it was total, I think, with tax out the door, I think it was like $14. So got a pretty decent price on it. It's a good thing. Look at that right off the bat. No corners cut off, so that's a nice bonus. Shoot, the cover. Oh, the cover looks clean. Let's look at the cover. So say they put the disc behind it like they should. Although it doesn't have a sleeve. Oh, sleeve right here. Good. Yeah, I don't mind if they put the sleeve in there, obviously, because the sleeve's not going to cause it's not going to cause it for ring wear. But here's the sleeve. Not a lyric sleeve. I said I never owned this album before, so, and the one down at the what do you call it? Sorry, just making sure it's recording. The one down at the antique shop, it's not in this good a condition. As far as the cover, this is glossy still. It's not even faded. There's no ring wear. A little bit of crinkles and stuff just because of the age, but I gotta smell it. Does it smell like pot? It's pot or basement, one of the two. A little bit of basement, no pot. Yeah, the one downtown, they wanted $25 for it. The record's all scraped up. We haven't looked at the record yet, though, by the way. But didn't have this in there, so I'm just gonna. I usually sometimes I put it in so I can read the back, slip it out to read the back, but I'll just put it in the back of this for now. So yeah, right off the bat, I mean, check this out. Let's look at the cup. Look at the condition. You know, nice condition. Back's nice. I mean, like I said, a little bit of crinkles on the corner. It might have been like smushed a little bit at some point. But other than that, I mean, it's got the gloss to it. And I love this cover. This is probably, I'm going to say this is my favorite Kiss album cover. And I'll tell you a couple of things. I'll tell you some stories and stuff. Obviously, I think you might know one story, but I'll tell you that as well. I noticed that was kind of weird. It is really strange. Sorry, I just noticed, and I'll get to these ladies because I've got a story, a childhood story about these ladies. But just that's weird though. Is look at her, that girl, right? Obviously, it's like a mist and stuff, but you can see the stairs through the mist. And where's her body? It's like a. What were you doing, Mr. Kelly? There, were you? Obviously, it's like, hey, let's put this girl behind her, sitting on the steps behind the other girl, and he didn't paint her body. It's kind of weird. I'm assuming. I mean, like I said, it makes sense if like the mist was covering it, but you can clearly see the stairs behind the mist. Yeah. So yeah, I'll give you my my little story slash. Well, it's not even really a story. It's more of a childhood fantasy, and you could probably know where this is going about this cover. But here's the thing: I never saw this album like this as a kid, and the only thing I had to go by, and I'll show you, was that belt buckle that I, the belt buckle that I wore to school. First day of school, I wore it in kindergarten in 1978 when I started at Woodward Elementary, Mrs. Elliott's class. Kicked open the door. I didn't kick open the doors, but I went in there and I was just so proud of this. I had the Kiss Destroyer belt buckle. And that's why all the other kids looked at me at first. They're like, "Who is this kid and his cool belt buckle?" That's why everybody knew me in elementary school as the Kiss kid that loved Kiss. I bet you there's kids in that class, that I haven't spoke to since then that, if you were to say, hey, do you remember the kid in class that obsessed with Kiss? And they go, oh yeah. They probably most likely. I think I know. I think I think there was probably one or two rando kids in there that I've never seen since since then. But most of them went on, I think, to me with first grade, second grade, maybe third grade, and then they probably went to wherever when the school split up there when I was going into fifth grade. But yeah, so there's the cover, pretty slick. Let's check out this disc. We'll see it now. I think it described it as being pretty clean. They said just a few scuffs, but no issues with their playback. This is what, side 2? Side 2. I could use run a little brush over. There's a little. No, that's sorry. That was just a hair, probably one of my beard hairs. No. There's a very small little mar there. It's not bad at all. I'm assuming that probably doesn't affect playback. They said it doesn't pop. It doesn't make a lot of noise. Of course, we'll figure that out when we play it. I'm not going to play it on camera. I'll play it probably this afternoon or this evening. Listen to the album again. Yeah, there's same thing. A little bit of it's really superfluous. Just barely a little marring there. Not a scratch, but like just a little marring. I mean, sometimes this can cut. I don't mind if it skips, as long as it doesn't just sit there and skip. I mean, if it pops a little bit and jumps. Like I said, I'm not trying to record these records down to cassette, so I don't really care so much about that. Run the brush over it when I play it. I don't think it needs to be clean. I might clean it anyways. I don't think I cleaned Destroyer. I think I just played it. Remember, but I said Destroyer sounded a little low. So when I play this, it's got the guys there on the cover, right in the Casablanca thing. I'll probably run some cleaner on it, give it a little touch up, just for the heck of it. So record looks good. Like I said, all for definitely not $25. And like I said, this one's crazy too. The reissue of this, it's double disc. They got like a big booklet comes with it. Sure, the booklet's cool and all, but it's like $42. It's like, no way. I want the original. I want the original. Pretty snazzy. Pretty snazzy indeed. So, got Love Gun. So I've got all of the records that I want, excluding the 3 missing solo albums. So whether or not I venture backwards and go for the first 3 records and a live one, or kind of keep going up to like Kiss Unmasked, you know, the Elder, you know, Dynasty or Creatures of the Night. That's probably where I'd stop, is Creatures of the Night. Like I said, I don't care for their unmasked. They're literally their unmasked stuff. But like I said, I don't really care for studio albums. I like the live albums better. I think it just sounds better. It's more energy. The studio, and I was listening to the studio. A lot of the studio recordings just kind of. I feel like they're you know, it's too. It's just, it doesn't have that, you know, roar of the scream of the crowd and the, you know, that whole kind of energy to it, that loudness to it. Because I mean, Kiss, you know, is a, and this is why they're still playing, is a live band. I mean, you gotta, they're not really, you know, let's just sit around and listen to the studio tracks. I mean, it's good to have the albums, because obviously that's where the stuff comes from. But on the flip side of it, you know, the live stuff's where it's really at. So, I want to make, first thing I'm going to pop up here on the screen when I switch over to the double screen, I just wanted, I was talking last night with my one friend, and my other friend, my friend from high school, the Rush buddy, you know, the one I met when I was in, you know, high school, the one I had the house, you know, and that I borrowed the red bass from, the red Yamaha. Anyways, he stopped by, and we're on Discord, and I could hear him in the background. He's like, "Hey, Tim, what's going on?" And I'm like, "Not much." And I said, "Hey, can you, I got a question for you." So I said, "Do you remember the model number of your red Yamaha bass?" And he's like, "Oh, jeez." He's like, you know, sorry, let me check something real quick. No biggie. I got a whole chicken in my slow cooker I put in this morning when I woke up, so it's going to be probably 8 hours. It'll be about 4 o'clock, so then I'm going to throw it in some soup and stuff, but it was just sizzling in the background. I was like, what the heck? So just wanted to check there real quick. I don't think there's a crisis averted. Crisis averted. I thought maybe water dripped over. Sorry, I won't get into it. But anyways, so anyways, I said to him, I said, hey, I said, you know, he's like thinking to himself, he's like, oh God, I don't know. And I know what, I don't think I asked him, I forgot to ask him if he still has it. I don't think he does, but it would be really cool if he still had it. I would definitely offer to buy it off of him, because I know he doesn't play it. I mean, like I said, he barely even remembered it. I mean, he remembered it, but he, you know, he's obviously can tell he hasn't seen it in a long time. But he did. He goes, wait a minute, give me a second. I'm seeing the numbers. He said BB300. I looked it up. He's right, BB300. So I found on Reverb somebody has one. There it is, right there. So somebody has one used for $300. Now, you can see, I'll show you the pictures of this thing up close. I don't know if I'd be paying $300 for this. I mean, it was a 300 series Yamaha. I mean, those new, like a new 300 series Yamaha. I think they have one up there, that one with the pick guard. So you can see it up there in that top row. Those are new, I believe. Yeah, 300, 319. I think I've seen them going for just under 300, but that's like a new price, right? I know it's a vintage instrument, but that's new price. And I've seen there's a lot of Mars on this thing. So let's look at the pictures real quick. I know this is the Love Gun video, but I just wanted to show you this because you might be interested. So that's the bass. Do you notice that how it's very Hold Your Fire, Rush Hold Your Fire? That's you know, he's like my Rush buddy, and he's like and he had this bass. I was like, oh, it looks like Geddy Lee's red wall, because at the time he had the red and black wall, and I was like, oh, it looks like the red wall. I says, oh, it's a Yamaha. I'm like, oh, okay. It's just got the split, you know, the split P-bass split style. It's almost got a P-bass neck to it, but that's the guitar. So that was the one that, like I said, the first one that I borrowed from the one friend was a bullet bass, which is also called a Bronco bass from Squier. Which I thought was cool. I really liked that guitar. But this was the second one, and I remember it being... My buddy's he's 6'7". He's a really big guy, really tall guy. So, you know, it's funny. He's just like, oh, he's got a tall guy. He's got to have a tall guitar. I always thought that because of the Bronco, the Squier was a short scale. I always just assumed, oh, that's how small the basses are. They're like, no, that's a full-size bass. Like, yeah, okay. And they're a lot longer. So I'm talking about this when I'm back in high school. So, anyways, and this must have been brand new because this thing came out in '91. This particular model, this particular one, and that makes sense because I remember I think I gave my other guitar, or gave the other guitar back to my friend, I think at the end of junior year, because he was a senior. He was 1 year older than me. So was this friend. He was a senior as well. But, I was obviously, started hanging out with him outside of high school. And I believe in senior, that's when he, he gave me this, he didn't give it to me, let me borrow it. I borrowed it for, I think up until I got the blue Ibanez that my dad bought me, which would have been like the next year. So I pretty much played this pretty solid for a year. I cut my teeth on it. That and the Squire bass. And of course when I got the blue Ibanez, that's another one I cut my teeth on. So yeah, I remember trying to, right off the bat, trying to do some Rush on this, and it wasn't happening then. But yeah, that's nice looking. I really like it. I think it's nice because it looks like that style. The new Yamahas, I don't believe, they don't look as nice. See, look, you'll see. Look at those. There's just marks everywhere in this. I know look at that. It's like been chewed up. Almost like a dog chewed on it. I mean, sure, it's a vintage instrument, and it's, 30 plus years old, but at the same time, I don't know if I want to pay $300 for it. I'd make them $150. That's what I was, like I said, if my friend still had the bass, I would offer him $150 for it. I don't even think he paid. I don't know what he said he paid. I think his parents bought it for him, I believe. Not 100% sure on that, though. Like I said, I didn't get to talk to him for very long to really get all those questions answered. But yeah, look at that. Still the Mars on that thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, enough about that. Let's fast forward to the Love Gun belt buckle. So I pulled up a picture. That's the buckle that I had. So again, remember that I'm pretty sure it was late summer. So I was into Kiss by '78 late summer, and that's when they had that carnival at Rochester High School on the football. Well, actually, the carnival itself is in the parking lot. Now, Rochester High School's changed a little bit, but the senior parking lot is still in the same place. And they had like an auxiliary senior parking lot, like an overflow lot. But I don't think that overflow lot was there. I know it was when I was there, but I don't think it was there then. I think it was still just just grass. And then they had the junior lot, which was paved. And then of course the football field, but back then, right in front of the senior lot, they had the bridge with the courtyard. It was an open courtyard, this bridge, and they shut the bridge down because there was a couple of incidents on that bridge, which I shouldn't go into. So anyways, if you know Rochester High history, you'll know what happened on that bridge twice. I think it happened twice on that bridge. So they decided they were going to get rid of that bridge, and then they ended up building a mall. They were actually in the process of that when I was in school, when I was there myself. Because remember, my sister went to the same high school. So, and it must have been 1978. So I think she was still either at West Junior High or she was still at McGregor. I think she was at West Junior High at the time. So we went to the carnival, like I said, and they had like all the carnival rides in that field, that grassy area. I believe that wasn't paved yet. It could have been. And then also into the senior lot. Now I think all the parking was this junior lot up there because that's where the neighbors who had the van. That's where I had found the UFO. Where I was playing with the UFO and they're waiting for them, just dying in the heat. That was up in the junior lot. So anyways. Remember I was talking about the little pop can necklaces. This was that carnival. And like I said, the whole football field wasn't rides. It was all just like a flea market. It was basically just a glorified flea market. And it was really cool. And like I said, this is the 70s, so you can imagine just what things. I mean, think about Kiss meets Phantom of the Park, like at the showing that. And not that everybody's painted up like Kiss or anything, but just imagine that. And if you lived at a time, imagine that just visualizing what people would look like then. And like I said, I remember there was a tent or a table tent, whatever. Some had tents, some had just tables. And the pop can people were up on the they're up. If you go up the bleachers, there's a upper ring for the press boxes, and there's like a candy box, like a concession stand up there, and then it goes back into the school there. But that up there on the top, that's where the pop can vendor was, that little pop can necklaces. But anyways, I was down on the ground here, and I went over to the so this person had a bunch of Kiss stuff, like Kiss things, and they had a bunch of these belt buckles, and I saw that one. I was like, I want that one, and then it didn't. I don't know. My mom just got it, which is weird. She normally doesn't just do that, but she got the belt buckle. So again, that was the only image outside of maybe a magazine picture or something that I would have seen. But as far as things that I had in my room, obviously I could wear, that was the only really picture I had of Love Gun, the cover. And I knew it even back then. I was like, I really liked the looks of this. Like I said, I also kind of learned about like the fantasy art. I didn't know this was Ken Kelly at the time, but I was seeing like fantasy art cover on books, and I noticed that they looked very similar. Probably saw a lot of Boris paintings. I went over my whole video on Boris, and Frank Frazetta, and then, of course, Ken Kelly was another one of those who painted very similar. And again, not knowing the name of the artist at the time, but I saw this, and the thing that got me, like I said, was these women. All of these women at the bottom. And like I said, you can't really see their bodies there. I mean, you can kind of see the chest of the one girl, but you can even see the stairs even more prominent in that image than you even can on the cover where she's missing her body. But anyways, so, but I kind of understood kind of what was going on. I assumed they were all naked for some reason as a kid, or slightly thereof, or had like these, basically what they're wearing, like these black kind of like jumpsuits. But I don't know. I started having these when I started looking at this. I just sit there and look at the. I mean, we didn't have the internet back then. You just sit there and just look at the belt buckle and go, oh, just like I'm looking at the art right now. I used to have these crazy, like, weird dreams. Again, I'm only like, what am I, 5 at the time? So this isn't even going into puberty yet. And I remember just seeing all these the women with the white faces and stuff and the black hair. Probably why I really like black hair. But anyways, and they're all like strewn about like this like misty kind of like dungeony looking place. And I just had all these weird dreams that I was like as a little kid I was like not swimming around, but kind of like crawling around on all these like half naked ladies with like the white face paint and stuff. It's just like kind of a weird, strange I remember thinking that was weird too, and I used to have like kind of waking like ideations or imagination or visions of that when I was a kid. I remember sitting on like my parents were watching some TV show. I'm just sitting on the couch and I got like the belt buckle. I'm looking at it and I'm like, Tim really likes that belt buckle. I'm just like, thinking of that same scenario in my head over and over again in my head. So it's probably why I am the way I am today, most likely. But it's just that, and that's probably why this is also my favorite Kiss cover. I mean, like I said, I think the rock and roll over thing is cool, the wheel, but as far as an actual proper cover with a cool fantasy artist of the same style that I like, it's definitely this. I forgot to pull up the other Ken Kelly art. I need to just do a Ken Kelly video at some point. I saw somebody did one online too, but because he's done other album covers for other bands. I just need to just do an all-out Ken Kelly video. It probably won't get any views because it doesn't have the word Kiss in it, but maybe I'll have to put like Love Gun or something on the cover just so people will click on it. It's like, oh, is you doing a Love Gun part 2? No, it's about Ken Kelly, the artist. But very underrated artist. I mean, like I said, Frazetta gets most of the praise when it comes to that era, and then of course Boris. I don't think Ken Kelly gets enough credit. I mean, he wasn't just like a clone that would just, just like Boris. Boris really wasn't just a Frazetta clone. He painted in a very similar style, but had his own thing. Same thing with Kelly. He had very much his own thing. Actually, I think that Frazetta drew some great women, or painted some great women, especially the kind of women I like. But and Boris, has like a lot of the more muscular girls and stuff like that. Look very photoreal, but Kelly, I think, really pulls off without looking super photoreal, still has an more illustrative quality than Boris, but at the same time still looks realistic. Frazetta's stuff was a little more highly stylized, wasn't as realistic looking. So I just wanted to point out the belt buckle, just so I kind of reiterate that story. Of course, it's apropos, being that this is the Love Gun album. Also, I want to bring up, which kind of irritated me, but I wasn't surprised. They're sold out again. There's the Love Gun dolls, which are pretty much just not knockoffs, but they're not direct copies like I showed, but they're pretty close copies of the original Kiss dolls, but with the original packaging, because they originally came out as the Love Gun dolls on like a blister card, and they had like the Love Gun art, which is cool too. But I would rather have the the vintage doll look. But then there they are with their costumes. I mean, the costumes match pretty much for the most part. Gene's got the right boots. Ace has got the right outfit. Paul's got the right outfit. He's got the stars and stuff on there. Peter, everything. They also make these too. They have these. You can buy these separately. Of course, these are in stock. You can buy the robes from Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park, because they're wearing the same costumes in that movie too. And they can put the robes on them. It'd be kind of cool to set all the robes on them and I'd have to make the stands and do a little display of that. It'd be pretty cool. But again, I missed out again. I've only like the third time these things have been sold out. I'm assuming if they're selling out that many times, that this company, as long as they have the license, is going to continue to keep producing these. So they'll probably be available again. They'll probably raise the price. And that'll be like $300 for them. But they're $50 a piece, which is pricey. And that's what's been my deterrent. I mean, sure, I spent $200 on other things, but for some reason I just couldn't bring myself to dropping $200 to get all these dolls. Like I said, I was just going to get Ace and Gene, and those sold out like instantly, so you couldn't get them separately, because normally you could buy them separately, and they don't even show them as a set right here. They have the set of the robes. And it's weird also, they don't have Kiss on the main thing anymore. I'm hoping that they didn't lose the license, but that's obviously because if you go to the home site, the home page, as I go to the home page, normally it would say Kiss up here with like Super Friends and Batman's Monkeys. It doesn't say it anymore, so I'm wondering. And there was like, I'm looking at the action figures. I had to go through Google to find that listing. That's probably why they sold out so fast. I bet Archive, Dukes of Hazzard, Gilligan's Island. Oh, those are cool. Evel Knievel. This is all the stuff right about that time. Okay, Kiss action figure archive. So they're in the archives. So that leads me to believe. So there was the Love Gun. This is how they originally looked. Same dolls, but they had these big card packages, and those are sold out too. It's not like I can get those either. But they're gone for now. Hopefully they're not gone for good. If they're gone for good, then I guess I'm never going to own them. So, that kind of sucks. But anyways, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Let's go to the album. I'm going to shut down the rest of these. They don't really need to be up. Well, here's the album. So, like I said, I just listened to it on here instead because I didn't have the record open until that time. But 28 minutes ago, just check the time. So we'll get into the album here. I like most of the songs on this album. There's a few I consider just throwaway songs. They just don't do anything for me, and they're never really. I think they were just sleeper songs on here. I don't call them a stinker song. They're not suck, but I mean just kind of. I just call them throwaway songs. I Stole Your Love, obviously a hit. Christine 16, we'll get into that one as a hit. Got Love for Sale, just a throwaway song. Shock Me is good, that's sang by Ace Frehley. Tomorrow and Tonight, it's an okay song. I think is What's His Face? Or was it Hooligan? One of them Peter Criss sings. Might be Hooligan, I'm not sure. And then Love Gun, of course, obviously the title track. Hooligan was, again, just kind of like, it's alright. Plaster Caster, there's a funny story about that. Funny, haha, The Plaster Caster, we'll talk about that one. And then Then She Kissed Me is just a cover of that classic 50s song, which is funny because I had the single. I didn't have, my parents had, because they had stacks of singles from like the 50s and the 60s, and one of them was that song, the real version. I think it was the Chantels maybe that did it. I can't remember. But we had the 45 of that song, so I remember hearing that song a lot by putting the 45 on. But Plaster Cat, or sorry, this is a cover. It's just like the Twisted Sister album when they did the Leader of the Pack. It's okay. It's just a cover. I think it's more of like a. I'm sure they did. Then She Kissed Me because it's Kiss, right? Clever guys. But I think it's just kind of on there. It's fine. Sorry, I'm not gonna really go off on that, but it's fine. So I didn't really take notes this time. I'm just gonna use why is it not there? It is. I'm just gonna use song facts. Like I said, I'm not being, these guys aren't indoor. I'm not really like, I'm not getting anything from song facts. I'm just telling you. I just discovered this site. I think it's a great site. So give them their praise. Go check out their stuff. Use their site. I really hate it when people make videos and they reference things and they don't cite their references. It's just like writing a paper in college. Cite your references. I really hate that. I hate when I see an image or something and they don't cite where it came from. Like, I want to know what this is. Like I say, it was a guitar, right? Or something like, oh, what is that? And then they never say. So I try to make it the point to, I'm not going to probably not put it in I haven't been putting anything in the descriptions yet. I haven't really got into doing that as a practice yet, but I will eventually. So at least I'm showing you. It's there. You can see the site right at the top of your screen. It's songfacts.com. Go there and check them out. I find them to be a little bit better than Wikipedia because they go in specifically on the songs. And again, they didn't have all of the songs, so that's why I'm not doing every one of the songs here. I got 5 of them here. So let's kind of go through and just see what they say. So I glanced at these and I read a little bit of like Christine 16 because I was interested, but I'm kind of discovering this with you live here and see what they say. Paul Stanley wrote and sang the lead in Kiss, Behind the Mask. He explains, so good, even they reference, good. I Stole Your Love came quickly. It was kind of his sister's song to Love Gun, so it came around the same time. Again, swagger and attitude. That song was influenced in some ways by the Deep Purple song Burn. Interesting. There's an old standard called Fascinating Rhythm, which is what Burn is based on. The songs I was writing at the time were of a certain type. I was trying to get closer to things like in British bands that were my influence. And then you can tell how good I can read. Interestingly, once you had Kiss play it, the song took off in a different direction because of the perspective of the players in Kiss. So I had done those songs 100% my way. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I wasn't planning on reading this verbatim, and I hate reading out loud because I can't read. But anyway, this song is the first song, Love Gun. Yeah, first song off the album, obviously. Came near the peak of their popularity. By this time, they'd built a very loyal following and had even won over a few of the music critics routinely trashed the band in their early years. Turning point for Kiss was their 1976 Destroyer album, where they refined their sound with considerable help from producer Bob Ezrin, another seasoned producer. Eddie Kramer worked on the next 2, Rock and Roll Over and Love Gun. Kramer, known for his work with Led Zeppelin, was able to translate their energy to the album. Sort of. They definitely, I like them. I really like Rock and Roll Over. As far as the album itself, Rock and Roll Over still is my favorite. This is my favorite cover, but Rock and Roll Over is still my favorite album. There's 2 guitar solos in the song, one by Paul Stanley done first and Ace Frehley. So interesting. So, like I said, I've got more to say on some of the other songs, like especially this one. Okay, so let's dig into Christine 16. Remember what I was saying in one of the other videos, how it just makes you scratch your head, and it realizes this stuff is probably not going to fly today. It depends on what state you're in, but even still. So rock music's filled with songs where guys get lusty for 16-year-old girls. It's true. The Sweet Little 16 by Chuck Berry. Well, we know he was a piece of work too. You're 16 by You're 16 by Ringo Starr, and Only 16 by Sam Cooke. So yes, it's a very much a thing. But I think back then it wasn't really considered taboo. I think a 16-year-old girl back then, I don't know. It just seems like, obviously, people didn't seem to have a problem with it. Maybe some people did, but, the controversy never carried over and was never highly publicized. But they do make a point. Gene Simmons, who handles the vocals, was 27 when this was released, right? But when we can assume, I don't know if we can assume, to tell you the truth, he's singing from the perspective of someone younger, although clearly older than Christine. We picture him as a 19-year-old kid, do we? Who graduated from high school but still hangs around town, scoping out girls. Kind of like, and I was thinking the same thing, kind of like Wooderson, Matthew McConaughey's character in Dazed and Confused, which was set in 1976. In his classic line, "That's what I like about these high school girls," he says. "I get older, they stay the same age." I can't do a good my Matthew McConaughey. Let's see, what's his classic line? All right. I can't do it. I can't do a good Matthew McConaughey. "They stay the same age." It's a classic line. I think I've used that a few times and probably got smacked. But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I think Gene was 27-year-old Gene, or 26 maybe when he wrote the song, was probably I don't think he was 19-year-old Gene just out of high school thinking about a 16-year-old girl. But anyways, why would they still be singing it at 27 then? Gene Simmons wrote this song and sang the lead. He came up with the title after ribbing Kiss guitarist Paul Stanley for writing songs about girls and love. "All you ever do is write girl songs like Christine 16, he told him, realizing the song title he made up to tease Stanley was actually pretty good. He wrote an actual song called Christine 16. Released ahead of the title track, Christine 16 was the first single from the 1977 Love Gun album. Kiss had a breakthrough with their 1975 live album, Alive. In 1975, when 1976 they found their footing in the studio with Destroyer album, which blah 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 blah. It goes more about those guys where they've never surfaced. They've never surfaced, but Eddie Van Halen said that he and his brother Alex played on the demos of this song. Interesting. With Ace Frehley modeling his guitar solo on what Eddie played. In 1976, Gene Simmons financed and produced the first Van Halen demo tape. That may have happened. I mean, I know, what's his face? Gene was producing them at the time, so, he's kind of taking them under their wing, so it could be true. But it's neither here nor there. But it's just interesting fact. A lot of this stuff is neither here nor there. It's just interesting facts. Shock Me, which is an interesting one. I didn't know what Shock Me was about. I thought Shock Me as in like, hey, I was thinking about the line from Meet You in the ladies' room where he says, show me your stuff, you want to impress, so she lift her dress, or however it goes. I thought that was the whole thing was Ace Frehley was like telling some girl, hey, let's see what you got, shock me, right? Show me your goods type of thing. Of course, that's what I'm thinking. That's not actually what he meant. What he literally meant was being electrocuted, which I didn't know this. It says, Motley Crue's Kickstart My Heart may be the most famous song inspired by a near-of-death band member, but it's not the first. Kiss guitarist Ace Frehley was nearly electrocuted at a concert in Lakeland, Florida. Just checking the time. And check and see if it's still recording. We're good. Lakeland, Florida, on December 12th, 1976. When he touched the metal railing of their improperly grounded set, imagine that, improperly grounded set, and a surge of electricity went through his body. check this out. Frehley fell to the floor unconscious, but was able to complete the show. Now that's rock and roll. You shocked a guy, knocked him out, right? Wakes up, let's just keep the show going and finish the show. It says even he had no feeling in his hands, which might say a little bit about the quality of the music. I don't know. maybe not. Sorry, there's a couple of texts right off the bat. I always check the text even if I'm on camera, just because my son's school or something could. I want to be up on that. So, anyways. What's it say here? Frehley's near electrocution may have been inspiration for the song, but the lyrics is really a stack of metaphors relating electrical terms to sex. Well, of course it is. They're not going to literally do a song about being shocked to death. They're going to turn that some way into banging chicks. You know, it's Kiss. Come on. It's the 70s. All of their fans are 5-year-old, 6-year-old kids. This is weird. Sorry. My insulation's gone, girl, you make me overload. Baby, I'm down to the bare wire. Those are some kick-ass lyrics. And it's just funny. Like I said, it's just so funny how this stuff was so marketed. Especially right about this time, they started marketing this stuff so heavily towards kids. And kids became the dominant, fans of the music at the time. Especially teenage boys. And all the songs are just like, I said, the parents, I don't think they were thinking. And it was the 70s and the parents were too busy being 70s parents, you know what I mean? They're too busy drinking cocktails and having cocaine parties probably, they don't care. At least the rich ones did. In our interview with Ace Frehley, we brought this up and the guitarist replied, isn't every Kiss song about sex? Well, there you go. Every Kiss song about sex. What Kiss song isn't about sex? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Yep. Until we get to The Elder. Anyways, Frehley, the original guitarist with Kiss, had written or co-written some of the songs of the band. Remember, Cold Gin, blah, blah, blah. Okay, you'll see. Even AC/DC, the most electric of rock bands, never did a whole song relating that's theme with sex. Their song High Voltage is about rock and roll. Exactly, yeah. I think AC/DC, even though they had the balls to the walls and stuff. Not balls to the walls. My balls are always bouncing from the left into the right. What was the song called? Not balls to the wall. Oh, I got big balls, yeah. I remember that was also one of those things where, like, you're in kindergarten, kindergarten. I remember someone's like, hey, you ever heard of this song called I've Got Big Balls? No, man, what's that about? Well, what do you think it's about? About having giant balls. And, of course, in my head, it's like the South Park episode. I'm thinking of, like, those bouncies that they had back then. I used to think, like, some guy's running around bouncing on his own testicles. See, I thought about that before South Park did. In kindergarten, 1978. Because he says my balls are always bouncing from the left and to the right. So I thought to myself, they're on these giant, like, bouncy things, but it's his testicles. It's funny. So anyways, let's go on to, what am I at? Love Gun. Here we go, title track. Love Gun. Right, like I said, I can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is hilarious. So, perhaps the best explanation of this song's lyrical content comes from the 2008 movie Role Models. Never saw it. Where Sean William Scott character is court-ordered to join a Big Brother-like program and get with a very difficult, rambunctious boy. He finally manages to bond with the kid by introducing him to Kiss. Sounds like a good movie. And when he plays the song, he tells him Paul Stanley wrote this about his dick. It's funny. Really? Seems like something. Well, I guess he's court-ordered. It's not like he's going to lose his job for discussing inappropriate things with a juvenile. But I guess if you're a Big Brother, that's how Big Brothers talk, But yeah, he wrote the song about... It's funny. Seriously, this song is called Love Gun, and it's about Paul Stanley's schwanz, as that guy with the red bass, his stepdad would say, schwanz. And how this girl's gonna get some of his schwanz. Just keep saying that. Paul Stanley of Kiss wrote this song and sang lead. He had already answered in interviews when he asked about it. A love gun is the gun you're born with that never comes off. Well, that's true, hopefully. Stanley wrote this song on a flight to Japan. Okay, interesting. That was written in my head. The whole thing, he said, in 2004 book Kiss, Behind the Mask. When he landed, I had to play it and make sure it worked. And it was all there. Sorry. I can't read very well, but also at the same time, this very wide screen at this angle was making all the words kind of flicker to me. Blah, blah, blah. I still think you're a tremendous song. Probably enjoy it. Yeah, I think it's quintessential Kiss. One of the 5 essential signature songs. I totally agree with that. This is the title track of the sixth studio album by Kiss. Their albums Alive 1975 and Destroyer 1976 had both gone gold, and they were leaning into the image of swaggering theatrical rockers with a legion of fans that fed off the critics that were already slapping off the band. Most of their fans were teenage boys. Well, I was even younger than that. But they had made inroads in other demographics, including women, who could see the humor in a song like Love Gun. My sister wasn't really a big fan, but obviously there's a lot of, all the girls love Peter, right? Like I said, you're writing a song like Beth, and that is the Looking for the Hummer song. So a lot of the girls liked Peter. Plus he's a cat, and chicks like cats. Kiss producer Eddie Kramer, got more about it to that. I'm not really super in. I mean, sometimes that stuff's interesting, but... Oh, there we go. Exactly. I was also thinking this too. Well, when I first heard this song, I thought to myself the same thing. I was like, Love Gun. Spinal Tap, the song Big Bottom, one of my favorite songs for obvious reasons, because I like Spinal Tap, makes a play on this with the lyrics say, my love gun's loaded and she's in my sights. Big game is waiting inside her tights. I love Spinal Tap. Oh, one of these days, I got to get the Spinal Tap record on remind me. I'm telling you this. Reminding myself, I got to get the Spinal Tap record on record. And I've got to definitely do I'm going to do one on the movie, their album, the whole 9 yards. Spinal Tap is probably in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. I love Spinal Tap. I constantly quote Spinal Tap. I mean, Spinal Tap, if anybody knows me, I mean, I just exude Spinal Tap. Favorite movie. So yeah, so there's Love Gun. How are we doing on time? We're getting close to the hour. I feel like I'm in school and as I keep checking the time. I want to get out of class. Okay, last song we're going to talk about is Plaster Caster. So I didn't know anything. I thought it was a weird title. I didn't know anything about this song until I read this, as far as what it's about. I never heard the the rumor that it's true. It says this song is about a Chicago groupie known as Cynthia Plastercaster. When they were assigned an art project at the University of Illinois to plastercast, you know where this is going. Something solid that could retain its shape. Cynthia and her friends Diana and Marilyn came up with the clever, of course they did, way to get backstage and have a unique interaction with the bands. Only chicks could get away with this. Dudes aren't going to get away. I can't go to the back of some hot chick band and say, hey, can I get a plaster cast of your fill in the blank? It ain't going to happen. Interaction with the band or band's members, ha-ha, they would made molds of their schwanz in plaster of Paris. Carrying around an official-looking kit. Yeah, official-looking kit. Their plans worked, and they succeeded in making casts for many musicians and their associates. Oh, most notably Jimi Hendrix, who had an exceptionally large cast. Of course he did. The plaster casters are discussed in detail in chapters of chapter on groupies in Jerry Hopkins' book, The Rock Story. Cynthia died on April 21st, 2022. Oh, that's interesting. Age 74. Wonder if she had 22. Maybe still COVID. I wonder. Well, she's 74, so who knows. How did Cynthia Plastercaster feel about this song? Here's what she told Songfacts in 2014. When someone first alerted me to the song Plastercaster, I wasn't too thrilled with it. You're going around plaster casting dudes' dicks, right? What do you have a problem with them writing a song? Fucking chicks. Sorry, anyways, it seems like Gene Simmons wrote the song to make people think he'd been casted, hadn't he? Which he most certainly never was. But years later, when Evan Dando's band Lemonheads covered it, I remember the Lemonheads, I started to notice how catchy the melody was. Nowadays, I'm all right with the song, don't love it, but I like it. It's changed my life. If it's changed my life, I'm not aware of it. I don't get that reference. Okay. I have issues with that whole story. But I won't get into those. The members of KISS were never molded by Cynthia. Oh, okay. But the band notoriously for their backstage activities with groupies, okay. Gene Simmons is rumored to have collected Polaroids that would make Larry Flynt blush. Okay, I don't know all that stuff. Cynthia Plastercaster is one of the greatest groupies of the golden... She just had sex with all the bands. That makes her great. The groupies, which was the mid-60s and the late 70s. Competition was fierce for the attention of rock stars, was it? I'd love to be a rock star. She worked in a team doing most of the damage with their apprentice Diane. She had a penchant for British acts, so she learned their dirty language, which got their attention. She knew that rig, chopper, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into this. I don't know. Groupie thing still kind of irritates me. Jealousy, yes. But beyond that, I don't know. It brings me back to my what do you call it? My dilemma, or my I don't know, something about. I'll come up with a better explanation for my thoughts upon gender. Which again, I tell you, I'm not PC person. I'm not I'm not going to get into things in super detail, but I've got my opinions that maybe I should keep most of them to myself. Not that I don't want to offend anybody, because I really don't care about that. But at the same time, I want to make some money. So I gotta. As my dad always said, which he got from a friend of his, there's a time to talk, Tim, and there's a time to shut your mouth. Right now is the time to shut your mouth. So there you go. Just listen to my dad's words, which he got from another guy that told him that. My dad hung out with some characters, trust me. So anyways, that's the last one we covered. Okay, then we covered the action figures. So, Love Gun, like I said, not my favorite. It's my favorite of the three studio albums that I like. I mean, as in I love these three albums, Destroyer, Rock and Roll Over, and this album. However, this one, it's my favorite cover by far of the three. Is it my favorite album? I still like... I think if I was to put those three in order, I'd probably say it's Rock and Roll Over, Destroyer. I mean, I like Detroit Rock City, Shout It Out Loud. I like those songs. And then this is probably my third favorite of the three. But definitely my favorite, as I keep saying, my favorite cover. So that's where that is. So, alright. Got enough time to do some closing thoughts. I gotta put the record back. Actually, I'm gonna listen to it too, so I'll put the record back together when I listen to it. So that really kind of covers, I mean, this is the problem with me doing these KISS videos. I mean, I love KISS, and like I said, obviously it seems like only people who are really paying attention to my channel are only paying attention to the KISS videos, so obviously that means I have to do more KISS videos. But again, I guess I'm going to have to do a deep dive into the rest of the KISS discography. To let you know what I think, to keep making records. I mean, if anything, and build up my KISS album collection. But again, I started with these three because these are my three albums that I like the most. And obviously, like I said, I mean, even when I went to the Dynasty tour with my dad in '79, I don't really have a lot to say about Dynasty forward because, again, let me go back to full screen. You know, I must have had ADD as a kid too, but maybe this is just a kid thing. But you know, as popular as all this stuff is, and you know, I also wonder how many kids. I mean, I know there's people that continue to like things, but I mean, if you're a kid, I mean, I know how our attention. I know my son's attention span is. It's just like with me. I mean, as huge as Star Wars is, 1977 the movie comes out. The toys come out in '78. They continue to come out, you know, with Empire. But I was really into Star Wars at the same time I was into this in '78. In '79, I still liked it. I got the '79 figures of Greedo, and obviously I was telling you the story when I used them as my Kiss figures. But by 1980, I mean, I was on to Dukes of Hazzard and other things. I kind of lost interest in Star Wars. And again, remember, I really wasn't into Star Wars through Empire. It wasn't until Jedi when I got back into Star Wars. And Kiss is the same thing. I really was into Kiss right at the same time, 1978, 1979 of the Kiss party. But after 1979, after the concert, and, you know, I think I even learned at that time, you know, it's once they had a new drummer, I just kind of, it fell out of favor with me. I liked it still. If you were to ask me, and I still had the stuff, I still liked it, but it wasn't, I was on to other things. I would say a year. Most things for me back then, I'd say about a year. And as I went through the 80s, you know, whether it was, you know, MTV, obviously MTV was on all the time, but, you know, all the different toys, you know, Masters of the Universe, G.I. Joe, Transformers, you know, Star Wars toys, all of those Dungeons and Dragons, everything I was into for about a year, and then I just lost interest in it. I didn't stop liking it. I just lost interest in it. I moved on to something else, and just things just kept coming out. And I was next year I'd be into this. Next year I'd be into this. Next year, like I said, a lot of my friends who did kind of still like the same things over and over, and they'd get mad at me. It's like, what are you gonna like next? I can't keep up with you. You like too many things. But yeah, you know, like I said, by this time I was, and like I said, once they took their makeup off completely and they're on MTV, you know, like Lick It Up and stuff like that, I was just like, I'm out. I don't care about them anymore. It wasn't until I got into, it wasn't even the Sam's Jams thing with the records in '88. I don't think it was until I got really into Kiss, like, out of high school. Because remember, I was really heavily into Rush and stuff. I didn't start buying those Kiss albums on CD until like, I think literally 1992. I know I got the Kiss Phantom of the Park while I was still in high school. I remember that because and that kind of got me, you know, like, oh, I really want to. Oh, I just need to get the Kiss albums again. But I didn't actually get the CDs, and you know, I take it. But maybe I got them in '91. But I remember most of them I had when I was working at the movie theater. So, and that was, I didn't start working there until '92. So, I think it was '92. You know, so. There was times, you know, and like I said, it's just like Star Wars. Some people think that Star Wars was popular since Star Wars came out. No, after Jedi went out of theaters and they stopped making the toys in 1985, right? And the '85 line really wasn't that popular. I'm gonna say nobody cared except for diehards, but nobody for the most part cared about Star Wars from 1985 to whenever they started. Well, I would say the role-playing game from West End Games started to get people's interest in it again towards the late 80s, but it really wasn't until the Tim Zahn books, Heir to the Empire and stuff, came out, I think in like 90, 91. That's what got people interested in Star Wars again, but for those few years, nobody cared about Star Wars. And the same thing with this. I don't think anybody really cared about Kiss that much, as far as makeup Kiss, throughout most of the 80s. If they did like Kiss, they liked obviously Lick It Up, but I'm sure there's a few diehard people, and probably some of the people watching this video are going to chime in and say, I never stopped liking Kiss, and I believe you. But I'm saying, I just think most people didn't really pay attention to Kiss much. Even when I got back into them in '92, I don't think people really cared. I think when people really started to go Kiss crazy again, Kiss became a thing was when they put their makeup back on, because I think they realized that's what people want to see, is them with their makeup on. So like whatever the mid '90s when they came back and they had the reunion, I think that's when Kiss became back on the radar. But like Star Wars, there was a period where Kiss was not on the radar. You know, I mean, there might be, like I said, they had Lick It Up, Hot in the Shade. You know, I can't remember what was the other big song. Tears Are Falling. I mean, those songs were on MTV, and people probably liked the songs who were into that type of music, you know, like the hair metal and stuff. But I don't think anybody were like, Kiss, you know, I really like, you know, I don't know, maybe. I mean, I saw those songs. It's Kiss, right? It's like, I like them better with their makeup on. That's what I kept saying the whole time, all through the 80s. It was like, I wish they'd put their makeup back on. I really don't like this. I want to see what they look like. And obviously they figured that out, and they put the makeup back on and started the reunion, whatever you want to call it. I call it Union because of the Yes Union album. But all right, that's an hour. So I made the hour again. Got to see the unboxing of the record. Ooh! But now what am I going to do tomorrow? I'm going to have to think. Actually, I probably won't make a video tomorrow because I got some things to do, and then my son's coming over. But then I'll be making a few more this week too. So I'm kind of caught up. This isn't going to be dropping until I think the following Monday. It's Monday today, so this won't air for another week. I got all the other ones to air. I just put the Kiss comic book one, you know, the Marvel Super Special one out today. So, all right. Again, remember, subscribe, like, do all that jazz. Liking really helps a lot. Liking boosts it up, puts it in people's faces. Obviously, subscribing gets me closer to the monetization goal. So all of that stuff helps. And again, word of mouth. Tell your buddies, tell your friends. Say, hey, go on and just like this, subscribe to this guy and like all this stuff. You don't have to keep watching him. Just let's get this guy up to a certain level, right? So there we go. It is what it is. So I will catch you on the next one. Just making sure I didn't forget anything. Think we're good? We're good. It's all cool, baby. It's all cool. All right. See you later.